Marry those of your own faith. Part 3 of Chapter 8 of the Marriage Covenant. There has been displeasure expressed very frequently because the Latter-day Saints have advanced the view that it is unwise for members of the Church to form marriages with those of a different faith. It has been urged against us by our opponents as a cause of offense, and as though we were doing something that was contrary to the practices of other people. We have been frequently attacked in entertaining and expressing this view as if we stood alone. But the facts are that there is no denomination of Christians that does not entertain similar views to a greater or less extent. No faithful Methodist would think it proper for a member of his church to marry a man or a woman who did not believe in that faith. The same may be said of Presbyterians, of Episcopalians, of Baptists, and of the sects generally. The Catholics, however, probably X. 231, press themselves more strongly upon this subject than any other denomination. In a recent article published in the Catholic Review, this subject is taken up. The mixed marriage, the writer says, is dangerous to the faith of the Catholic party, and almost fatal to the faith of the children. The article further says, the virtuous and consistent Catholic is, therefore, bound in conscience to avoid marriage with a Protestant. The priest is bound in conscience to prevent these marriages as far as he can. The fact that they are doing immense harm to our people, the review says, is well known to every priest in the country, and every pastor has a right to warn his people against them, and to take measures to prevent them. The whole article is very emphatic upon this question. Following up the statements which we have quoted, it says, there is no necessity for mixed marriages in our country, where Catholics are very numerous. The Constitution and the American flag do not suffer by the action of the priest in seeking to prevent them. If the ordinary Catholic finds his faith more burdensome than pleasant, no one can restrain him from laying it aside. The worst feature of the case is that the Catholic party to a mixed marriage remains in the Church, and trains the family of very poor Catholics to scandalize the faithful by pagan morality under a Catholic mask. Outside of Christianity there is no morality worthy of the name. The mixed marriage of the present day in America is usually the marriage of the Catholic with a pagan. Two earnestly religious people of Protestant and Catholic beliefs rarely unite in marriage. If they do, the domestic 232 discord is intensified. The non-Catholic party to a mixed marriage, if a man, is usually indifferent to any religion, and his morality is one of convenience. His children have nothing to learn from him, and his wife finds him a dead weight when he should be her main prop. All experience has shown that these children fail to persevere in the faith. Their sympathies seem never to be fully roused to its importance. They are a weakness and a hindrance. Their morality is of low standard. They become minimizers easily and fall away. We do not think any Catholic has a right to expose his children to the inevitable dangers of a mixed marriage. It is inconceivable that any Catholic with the ordinary graces of baptism and training can so debase the office of parent. We have always thought the Catholic party to a mixed marriage mentally and spiritually weak. Experience has proved to us in this country that this view of the cases presented in this Catholic paper applies with peculiar force to mixed marriages which have taken place in Utah. The evils which are described as following the marriages of Protestants and Catholic have been witnessed as following mixed marriages in our community. Many girls have supposed that the husband's love for them would be the means of bringing them into the church. But the experience of our many years' residence in these valleys has proved the fallacy of that hope. There have been exceptions, it is true, but they are very rare. The most frequent result has been that the girls have lost their faith and succumbed to the influence of the husband, and they and their children are aliens to the covenant. There should be in all marriages common sympathies, similarity of tastes and of sympathies, and especially of faith, is very important in wedlock. Where this is absent, marriage is, 233, apt to be unhappy and a failure. For a marriage to be a truly happy one among us, A young man or a young woman in seeking a partner should make it a matter of the first consideration to find one who is strong in the faith which he or she possesses. This forms the principal foundation for future concord and happiness. Following this, care should be taken upon the point of good habits, good temper, industry and agreeable tastes. A man that is not of the right character before marriage ought not to be trusted to reform after marriage. It is seldom that such changes occur. The girl deceives herself who trusts to have such a result follow her marriage with a man of this kind. Her love for him should not blind her to his defects. In fact, if she would take the right course, she would never allow herself to become entangled in such a way as to place her affections upon an unworthy person. The society of such should be shunned, and if care be taken in this direction, there is but little danger of improper attachments springing up. Marriage is the most important step in a young woman's life. It should be entered upon with the greatest care. Both sexes should earnestly seek the guidance of heaven in a matter so momentous as the forming of a contract as husband and wife. It ought not to be formed for a day, or for a few years, but with a view to being continued as long as life shall last, and then throughout eternity. One of the great sins of the present age is the frequency with which divorces occur. The proportion which divorces bear to marriages in some of the states and cities is enormous and appalling. Such a number of divorces is an evidence of a very low state of morals. It exhibits in startling manner how little sanctity is attached to this sacred relation. Where divorces prevail to such an extent, marriage almost sinks into adultery. 234. This holy relationship is dragged down from its high position and degraded almost to the level of lust. Such evils are exceedingly offensive in the sight of God. If they should prevail among us, they would without doubt bring down upon us the displeasure of our Heavenly Father. Divorces should only be sought for when absolutely necessary to effect temporal and eternal salvation. For all these reasons, therefore, the greatest care should be taken by our young people in forming alliances. They should be formed judiciously. The guidance of the Spirit should be sought for. The will of the Lord concerning the match should be obtained. The Juvenile Instructor, November 1, 1891.